Alrighty, hello everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day ending to the week here. Let's get into some plays. I want to get into, was it JSCE? No, JCS. Yes. This thing offered a nice dip by panic. Totally missed this thing. Let's look at the daily chart. So we've got this gradual uptrend here from 4 up to mid 11s, and here we got roughly 50% panic or so. And like a bouncing ball, when you get these panics, these excessive panics, you're gonna get a bounce. Same thing with RDBX from the other day, or yesterday rather. How you had no, it was the other day. So 5 day. So here you get the massive panic from the mid 6s, getting as low as 186, and then from there you get a massive bounce. And today we played this as a bounce. Actually, let me get into the trade just because I'm on this actually. So I ended up taking AFI for a little loss, $24, only on my starter at 0.396, and ended up stopping out when it cracked 3.9 here, so just 0.006 on 4,000 shares, $24. And what made me sell was the heavy selling that was coming in at 40 cents. It had a really hard time moving higher, and this trend here just started trying to double bottom, but there was just no volume. You got the volume exhaustion here in the morning, and just 10 minutes later or so, it just can't hold up. There's no volume. It's trying to hang on to the trend. It's below open price at this point, or sorry, not open price, previous close, so it's red on the day. So just some of these things stacking up against it, decided to cut it at 39 here, and then a few minutes later it ended up tanking. So glad I cut that short with only a starter, so that was only $24 loss. And then afterwards I ended up seeing RDBX. I missed this in the morning. We took a look at it, and we had a nice little push here, and just took it off my radar. It was a nice hold of the high at 256 here from the morning. That's usually the trigger for the entry. And once it keeps holding trend, volume starts coming back here, holds VWAP, starts coming back, you get a solid double top, but then you get a higher low here, and it's holding right around red green at 269, 270, somewhere around this area. I think it was 268 actually. But yeah, just like a few pennies right around this zone here was red green. It held it higher low, volume came back, and I was buying instantly at 273, and then that was a starter. Waited a few minutes, saw that it was still pushing. We got some solid selling, but it still held up right near the highs. As you can see here, that candle is pretty small, and just trend was intact. So from there I was still holding, aiming for 3, as if we look back here, besides 3 being a whole dollar, half dollar level, we got some solid spots here. Was trying to bottom, and where it takes off and tanks from right around 3, low 3s. So I was looking for 3 to be resistance and sell into that. So the ideal plan really would have been getting in the 250s, 260s, aiming for that 293-ish area. But because I was getting in a little late, I didn't want to adjust my goals because of that, because I failed to recognize it and be in earlier. So I still have to have the same goals. So just took almost 20 cents as we got a little quick snipe here. Volume got exhausted, and it came back hard with some selling. So while it was still holding up here, volume, as you can see, was very minuscule compared to what it was just doing. Can't sustain this. Nearing a resistance area, I figured, okay, let's just not be greedy. We're green on the day, we're green on the week. Let's just end it strong here with a decent low profit. Got out at 294 for 19 cents. The average was 275. So $285 there on this, and $25 loss on the other one. Around 260 on the day, not bad at all. So can't complain about that. But back to the point with, where was it? With these panic dip buys, we see them a lot with OTCs. We usually trade them with pump and dumps. Usually you'll see that huge panic when promoters stop pumping it and it just plummets. There's no volume, there's no buyers continually coming in to hold it up, so it plummets, and then at some point it's gonna have to bounce. So it can't just keep going down forever. So once you start seeing a momentum shift, as we usually see with tightening of the lows, the candles here might be a little tighter and smaller. You might get some longer bottom wicks as it tries to head lower but can't completely finish down near the lows. It starts coming back, and this one was relatively quick here. Is this a halt or a gap down? Because I didn't see it in the moment, so I'm not sure. But you know, you get a quick bounce here from the 6, 7 area right to 10. So that is pretty much like a bouncing ball. You got RDBX, NWBO. This is one that I traded earlier in the week. Here we are. You get gradual run up, and as you can see, the run up, not insane volume really behind it. You got these huge, kind of huge for its history, huge volume or huge price candles, but there's not really any volume behind it matching it. Yes, it's green, but it's not that insane of volume. As we can see here, comparing it to other times where it had similar volume, it didn't really do much. So the fact that it was pushing up higher on lighter volume was suspect already. And then guess what? It has a hard time near a whole dollar, $half level. And then from there, you get the reversal, buying stops, more selling comes through, and you get it from 170 to 40 cents. And I was getting in late on this thing too. I made a whole video lesson about that. It's on YouTube if you want to check it out from the other day. What's going on here? Thank you. So you get the massive panic, and then you know you get almost it's trying to bottom out here, but not enough buying really came through. You got overpowered by sellers, and then here you get the volume exhaustion on the sell side. You know how we usually look as longs? Once you get the volume exhaustion with all the buyers, how many more buyers are there to really sustain that volume and keep that trend and price heading lower? At some point, it's going to reverse as there's not enough selling participants to keep pushing it lower. And from there, you start getting the buying, and it just gradually climbs. I get in at 68 cents after it already jumped about 100%. Or not 100%, my bad. 50%. So held up strong, kept holding trend, and then we got a slight push. I was aiming for VWAP, got out at 77, quick 9 cents here in a matter of few minutes, and then we ended up doing more. But this is the bounce. You're not expecting the bounce to last forever or come back and go green and head higher. But these plays, once there's a huge panic, a shift in balance, it's going to try to even out. So once it heads one way, it's going to just, like a pendulum almost, it's going to try to even out, head the other way, and then it'll stabilize at some point. As you can see here, this is definitely stabilizing, just heading sideways. So, yeah. So missed JCSE, got RDBX, that was a decent one. Viru was another one that we missed today, and this one's a good lesson of keeping an eye on, the news. I didn't keep an eye on the news. I didn't look at it today, and supposedly there was a raise of the price target from 33 to 55. So I definitely would have been a lot more eager and kept my eye on this, watching it like a hawk if it really held up like it did. But, stuck too much to the technicals, didn't take a look at the news, my mistake, and I paid the price. That was a quick, easy move. This is something that we usually look for, an easy open price play. Failure breakdown, shorts come in, short against it. It's nearing on the daily chart here. some resistance levels in the 11, 12, 13 area. And once they failed to break it down, insane volume came through. Some of it dip buyers, and you could really get the hint over here. It tries to head lower, but then you get some unusual perk and volume coming back after it was really doing nothing, and that was kind of the trigger. Then you get the dip, fails to head lower, makes a higher low, and then from there, shorts just get squeezed. As well as buyers coming in, you get this whole move up to 15. So sucks I missed that. Would have been really nice to end the week on that. But still, RDBX, not a bad play. Right out of the watch list. Did everything I expected. And can't complain about that. I just hate that I caught it a little late and didn't have as much of a profit angle there. But it was still there. Just under 10%. A little bit more. But yeah. So that was kind of it. And right now, if you go on our YouTube, I pumped out a few video lessons. Here we are. If you want to check those out, I know I'm probably going to be talking about the same things here, but got a few video lessons out during midday. Just always there so you guys could reference those. Recognizing the top. Ooh, that one, BWV. That was a good call this morning to ignore it. And we were mapping it out. I was coming in pretty bullish, thinking that we could possibly get a move to 8. But right out of the gate, I did not like the volume, the way it was reacting to 7. So I was sitting on the sidelines. And then when I saw the crack of day lows, I, recognized the top because, excuse me. Let me get a sip of water here. So, how I recognized the top here was really just gauging volume and trend. So overall, the past few days, let's start with the daily chart here. So it was a nice play last week. That was a nice little move. We got solid resistance around 7 here. Fades on lower volume, puts in the multi-day bounce. But from there, it keeps holding up. And you get this solid uptrend here. And solid resistance in the high 6s, 7 area. And volume keeps uptrending, and that's really encouraging to see behind the bounce, especially in a market where not many things are holding up. It was nice to see something continually uptrending. But then we had a little bit of a hard time around 7 yesterday. And what made me this morning, once I looked at the chart, 5 minute, 5 day, I really recognized in the morning the weak volume. If you go back to live stream early on, probably within the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, closer to the end, because we start 10 minutes before the market opens, and I didn't recognize it till the market opened. So you could fast forward a bit. But looking at the volume here, the way it was moving the past few days, there was a lot more volume coming through and sustaining itself and holding trend. And as you can see here, what I went over earlier, is you get this massive move from the high 3s to the low 6s, and the next day you get another good move, double topping, solid spike, less than the first day, but still holding trend. And then the next day you get some solid volume again coming through in the morning, and a little break, fake out over the mid 6s, but this spike is less than this spike, and this spike is less than this spike. So the momentum's kind of coiling near this resistance area, and it's having a hard time really pushing higher and getting the energy it needs to break 7, hold up, and head higher. So yesterday, when we get the volume exhaustion and failure to really hold up with any volume, it had a solid bounce, double topped, but volume did not come through. So recognizing today the weak volume near a resistance level, now quadruple top over the past week in the low 7s. Now we're breaking towards day lows. You can get a decent idea that momentum has shifted. It's not holding open price. It's not holding previous close. It's below VWAP. It's facing resistance on lighter volume. And stacking all those things together, I thought, okay, maybe my thinking of it possibly getting to 8 and holding the breakout level isn't going to happen. So got to put attention elsewhere. So that was an ignore, and nice to see because it ended up cracking 6 and getting into the mid 5s. Here's Viru bouncing. This is holding up nicely. I really like this one. It's already up a lot on the day, but you can't ignore this price action right now. Ideally, there would be some more volume, but we are getting a bit of perk of buying here. If this makes higher lows, you know, and we kind of have this little range in the mid 13s and low 12s. It was trying to hold. Looks like it's trying to hold it now and break past it with some decent buying. So if it holds up in this area some more, that could trigger a move to test high a day. We'll see how much volume there is and the price action around that high a day area to see if we could possibly get a break past that into year highs in the mid 17s here. So definitely going to keep an eye on this. Insane volume, 60 million float. I looked at it earlier. We're looking at it. It had 16 million shares traded early on. So with that thinking, you can get an idea that there is going to be strong volume on the day, because if it's already doing 16 million by what, 6:45, 6:50 here Pacific time. There's plenty of day left, and if that momentum continues, you're definitely going to be rotating the float and getting the buying you need to really push higher. So that's also a way to gauge momentum when the float is a little bit larger. See how the volume is doing, by what time. If it's doing insane volume early on already, if it keeps holding trend, you can get a good idea that it's going to end up rotating the float if it keeps holding trend and that momentum continues as shorts continue to get squeezed out and buyers keep coming in, propping it up. But yeah, what else? If you guys got any questions, please throw them out. Here's my laptop. Let me check my scanners. Let's see if there's anything here late day for a Friday short squeeze maybe. Much more refined than his. Here's the Wi-Fi app. Not insane push in volume. We'll have to see a lot more from this first. Let's just see what the scanners say. Might be another boring late day. Capturing trades just midday this week. A little bit frustrating. Yeah. What's really been moving this week were some low price plays. NYSC was one. This one was a decent call in the morning. I wanted to stay away, but I was thinking, this is way off the highs, holding around the support area on the daily chart. If this could continue to hold that area around the 30 cent, 27 cent area here. If it kept holding that, it could possibly retest the 42 pre-market highs where there's some resistance around 39, but you know, aim for that 40, 42. Ended up offering a really nice move over 30, 32 here. You get a solid 10, 15%, 20%. Here we go. We're open here. And then there was, what was the other one? I think it started with a P. It's from this morning. Oops, I forgot. Whatever. Okay, let's see here. Was it? It was PTE. That was a pre-market gapper. Yeah. But yeah, once again, a lot of low price plays. There's a few in our zone. ARVL. It's a bigger market cap though. V-Root really does seem to be the best one. Oh wow, Pixie kept going. Incredible. That was the one I was thinking of. Pixie. Wow. Got up about 200%. Incredible. Wow. Reminds me of AFI. That one, AFI didn't work out today for a multi-day bounce. That's what we were watching today. Ended up taking a little loss on it, but you had that solid squeeze from 13 to 75. And here we got Pixie, just incredible. Just on the topic of these lower price plays really having some force behind them, and that's something I'm definitely noticing and might have to adapt to. A lot of these, not a lot, but there's been one or two a day that offers a decent move within my patterns, and I'm just avoiding it because of the price, and I just need to study up a little bit on these lower price plays, how they move and whatnot, because I just don't really like the way they move typically, because I'm just not really a fan of the price, because it dips a penny and all of a sudden I'm down 4% or something. It's just frustrating. But here we have a solid VWAP hold high at daybreak. Same thing we always talk about. You get the spike, failure to break down, trend keeps holding, shorts get squeezed, buyers keep holding it up. There's just an imbalance in supply and demand, and we start heading up. Keeps holding trend. You get that volume exhaustion, and this is where it really just has a hard time breaking past, where it has all that selling and buyers get exhausted. Major resistance in the low to mid 60s here. I don't know how much further this could go. The play really for me would be back here, around 35 or so, and probably would have butchered that and sold at 40, in the low 40s. This thing takes off, so definitely something I might have to adapt and start incorporating in my trading as long as the market is offering these plays, because I didn't see these really on my scanners that much. Maybe occasionally there would be a super cheap price play, but usually what's popping up is what's in my area of comfort, 1 to 15, and these, ever since the market has been downtrending for a minute, but really showing some fear. These lower price plays is where a lot of the energy's going to, is what it seems like. So just gonna adapt to that. As long as they're hot, I'm gonna try to incorporate it into my trading some more, because you had Pixie with a solid high daybreak and VWAP hold. PTE, not PTE, MYSC was a solid open price play. VWAP reclaim here. So some plays setting up, just ignoring them for specific reasons that I just don't like those plays. But we'll adapt. So let's see what is moving here. RDBX, hard selling in the low threes, got stuffed. Glad I recognized that area of resistance from the past few days. We're just having a hard time holding or breaking past. Slower mover here, NUTX. Recent move, had the bounce play. Now just the bounce just gets weaker, typically. So we'll see what this could provide, but I'm not looking to trade this. I don't like the way it's moving right now. Let's see if there's any other plays. Yeah, most of them, if they are in my price range, are either a higher market cap or have a lower volume. So yeah, it just seems like another day where it's gonna be slow. You got any questions? Feel free to ask. Maybe you're tanking. I don't see that up here anymore. Trying to hold, nothing serious there. CTIC. Bigger float, not enough volume. For CTIC, I did have a strong push in the morning, but weak volume. That's an ignore. Let me bring it up to show you guys what I'm talking about. So here's CTIC. You got strong volume here in the morning, but that's all it really offered. Gets stuffed in the mid fours. Just bouncing off this bottom here, just reversing. Yeah, as you can see with its history, not much action really that I would like to trade. Like, I don't think it would show up on my scanner here. On one of my scanners it wouldn't, and that's like one of the best moves it had on this chart, 15% or so. Yeah, not that great of a play. Lower. Nice. That is very nice to see. Very happy with this recognition of the top, because that's really trading is. I was looking at this as a long, looking for the breakout, but adapted quickly when I recognized the volume wasn't there, trend was starting to reverse, and that thinking with you know, looking at the spikes, measuring the spikes. There are less, weaker volumes coming in. The volume just got exhausted. So, if the chart were to be flipped, we'd be looking at that as a potential multi-day bounce. This would be the bottoming action. You get, if this was upside down, this would be the high day break where I would enter, and this would be the bounce play. But now it's just, you know, the other side of trading, short selling. They're just looking at the opposite things that I'm looking for, or us longs are looking for. Let's just keep Vero up here on the screen. I don't see anything better than that for the moment. I'll probably wrap this up here in the next 10-15 minutes. I'm not going to be trading anything, just came on to review my trades, give some input, what I'm seeing, recognizing some things, some of the lessons. Um, but really, this is just the market to be picky. This week, I guess while I'm here, let me see how this week was for me. Finished today 1 for 2. I know win ratio wise, probably just about 50%. Up 261 on the day. So let's see what we get here. Okay, 1233 on the week. For a very slow market, things being a lot more difficult to execute, not too bad of a week. Let me see what my win ratio is here. Oh no, there's the monster dog. So we got 10. Yeah, 5 for 10 on the week, 50% exactly. And my pattern's really just sticking to what I know. Multi-day bounces, panic dip buys. Haven't traded those in a while, but that is definitely something I'm well aware of how to trade. The VWAP hold to test high at daybreak. That was a failure in RGLS. That was a huge mistake of mine. Buying top end of the range, weaker volume. This was Wednesday. This was my red day of the week. $180 lost that day between 2 trades, and the biggest day was Tuesday, up 550 on the day. So keeping my wins a lot bigger than my losses, that's for sure. Would be up around 1,500 if it wasn't for that Wednesday, that loss. But what was the time frame here? So this day right here, you get the solid wave 1, wave 2, this third wave, hard resistance, buying at the top end of the range at 31. Huge mistake, as my risk was really down here around 28. Just foolish of me, totally breaking my rules. It was a horrible day. I think I had it was SIDU that I had a small loss on this morning, and that morning, and then didn't trade anything else the whole day. Just got a little trigger happy when I saw something potentially setting up for a high daybreak, and that's chasing. That's buying at the higher end of the range, the top end. That's FOMO. That's what happens. Just made my red day a little worse. Took a bigger loss than I would have liked. 10% loss. Not good at all. So yeah, not too bad of a week. You can make a little over $1,000 a week in a market like this. That's not bad at all. I'll take it. I'm pretty happy with it. There were some areas where I could have emphasized a little more for sure, but I'm also still adapting to this market shift right now. We've had ebbs and flows in the markets, of course, the past few years throughout the bull market. But, the first time really seeing fear and some plays kind of just not working out. A little bit of a shift. So I'm a little more cautious these days, trying to keep the account safe. But this is just going to make me a better trader, surviving these markets, learning the lessons from this market, where to buy, where to sell, how picky to be. It's just going to set you up perfectly for when the market does come back. So it's a great time to really learn and get a bunch of lessons. So when everything heats up, you're in a great position to emphasize on it. So if you're new and seeing this chaos in the market overall and some opportunities kind of fading than what you've heard in the past few years or seen, don't trip. If you're here for the long term, relax. Some great lessons are on the way. It's just going to make the future even better for us. That's all I could really say. Just be positive, keep learning, and don't quit. Stick to it. It's been 5, 6 years for me now since I've started picking up trading, and it's been one hell of a roller coaster, but I'm glad I never quit. I stuck through, and it's finally clicking, and I'm starting to finally get some consistent profits. So, a lot of big mistakes, a lot of lessons learned, but you keep learning. You just gotta stay positive and keep going. And I wasn't positive the whole way. I'll say that. A lot of mental breakdowns along the way, feeling dumb. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Let me check out just a few other plays. I don't have anything else to look at. Viru cracking 13. Nice. BWV still holding, but 23 minutes left. I don't know if it's gonna go parabolic here. Not the best history. Reminds me of RGLS. Don't want to get caught in this high or low. Looking for that high break, getting stuffed as it's clear that resistance is in the mid-low 60s here. Volume is fading. I think this ends up tanking here soon. Could be wrong, but I'm kind of done with the day and week. It's been a really difficult week executing some plays. Yeah, not emphasizing on some things, missing some plays here and there. Just a little bit of a lackluster week. First time in a while that I've been excited for the weekend to actually relax and study up a bit. So we'll just wrap it up here. Hope everyone had a great week. I'll throw out some more video lessons on the weekend. Be ready for Sunday. I'll have my watch list on Twitter, and I'll go over it on a video lesson on YouTube. So make sure you check out our links down here for Twitter and YouTube. Instagram, we don't post that much, and we just got a TikTok as well. But I really suggest following the Twitter and YouTube. I think most valuable information is there. Instagram, not much. TikTok, still working on making some material. So yeah, check us out on those links. This weekend, we'll just get ready, prepare for Monday, see what there is to learn from the week, and see where we should adapt as well. So hope everyone has a great weekend. Study up, and I'll also besides material of mine, I'll also put out some links to some books that I've liked throughout the years that have helped with reading volume. Trading psychology books aren't bad. I think they're a little overrated. But really the main thing to learn is the volume and trend, momentum of how these plays move. So we'll wrap it up there. Have a great one, everyone. We'll catch you later.